Welcome to the Idaho Business Podcast, the only Idaho podcast focused on providing profits for Idaho people. If you love our state and love small business, you are in the right place. We interview local legends, learn business, and have way too much fun doing it. You're listening to the Idaho Business Podcast with your friend, host, and all-around great guy and owner of New Clean Commercial Cleaning, Spencer Ward.
All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode. We are excited to be here today. Our next guest is going to be upcoming Jared Barton. We're going to be talking about health. We're going to be talking about the new year and how business owners and business leaders with their highly functioning schedules and their busy schedules can still find time to eat healthy, to get in shape, and to manage their lives better. So, because we know when you're in shape and you're feeling good, you just perform better. So tune in for next week because that's going to be an awesome episode for that. So this week, before I get into the nitty gritty, I always have to mention we are sponsored by New Clean Commercial Cleaning. They are sponsoring the podcast, and they are offering a free sterilization for any office that calls in and says, "Hey, we heard about them. We heard about you on the podcast, the Idaho Business Podcast." Call them at 208-254-7070. Mention that, and they will give you that sterilization to help your employees stay healthier through this cold and flu season and keep them more productive at work. Again, call them at 208-254-7070. All right, guys and gals, today I was just thinking, man, we all have these times where, and it seems, if your company's function over the weekend, it seems like a few things happen on a Friday, sometimes Saturdays, and it typically kind of all bundles up on a Monday you get to deal with. But and if you don't, it happens on another day. I'm sure there's a certain day of the week for your business that just like, there's once in a while it just kind of falls on that day. You're like, okay, well, let's roll with it. Anyways, I started to think about one of our Mondays. And it's there's times when your staff and your employees, they're all just firing on the same cylinders, and they're just not the same cylinders, but they're just they're firing on all cylinders, and they're just in unison, and you're feeling the flow, and they're just working together, and you're feeling the energy, and you're feeling like they're really sharing our core values, and things are just really good. The synergy, is working. And then you have opportunity, and then you have not opportunities. You have occurrences that happen when you have a little chink in the armor, and a little fiery dart or something is let through, and it starts to throw maybe a little something in the wheel of the cog, and it starts to throw a bump in there. And it starts with one employee, and then that can roll over to two employees. And if you don't catch it soon enough, it can go to 3 or 4 employees, because then they start to poison the well. So how do you have difficult conversations with employees when you need to have them? Or do you have them? Are you the type of company that you're small enough and you feel like, I need every single one of these employees because I trained them with my bare hands, and man, no one else can do what they do, even though they've trained people for decades now, to put human hearts in from one body into another body. They've trained people for decades to work on nuclear, machines and all sorts of stuff like that. You can find people and train people, and you can do it in a better and a more efficient way by putting processes together. But this podcast episode is not about processes per se. It's about having difficult conversations using your core values with your employees. So say, for example, let's just start with this. If you don't have core values at this point, you're a steady listener to this podcast, I've said it enough. You've got to get your core values in line, and you'll understand why after this episode even more. So our core values for my companies, and this is what I say for my companies. It doesn't matter what other company I open or what other company I buy. It's always going to be, be honest, have fun, make money, work together. And working together, that's being real. That's communication. There's a few things that go along with that. We write our hiring ad based upon those core values. We attract people with those core values. People come and they think, wow, I was attracted by your hiring ad. It's definitely not the same boring ads that I've read other places, and it doesn't matter what industry you're in. I'm telling you, even if you're in the banking industry, you can still have fun with your ads and attract the type of people you're trying to attract. And you can still do it in your legal, ways that your attorneys are going to approve it. Just make sure you're hiring attorneys that share your core values and enjoy a little humor. If you are the type of industry that has some humor in your core values, if you're boring, stay boring. Anyways, so when your employees come on, they've already agreed, hey, yeah, I get it, man. These core values are important to you. We fall in line with it because we're attracted to those core values. So yeah, we understand it. That those are important, and that's why we're coming to work for you. So when an employee let's just say, for example, they're constantly showing up late. Let's just use that for the example because that's easy enough. You can use this for across all industries: white collar, blue collar, service industry, retail, whatever you're in. Say you have an employee that's showing up late every day, and it's always the same 2 or 3 excuses. Man, it was traffic. Oh, I had to put gas in my car. I had to, I had to drop my kid off at daycare. I just don't have enough time to get all of it done and then get to work at time. Okay, well, let's sit down. And then the first thing you want to talk about is like, hey, when you were hired on here, you agreed that that we've shared these core values of working together, having fun. This is me obviously talking to one of my employees because these are my core values. Having fun, making money, and being honest. And let's just take, for example, you being late. How is you being late to work on a consistent basis? How is that working together? How is that helping your team? When your team is counting on you to be here at a certain time, so they can start working with you. And maybe this employee will say, we'll give you the same excuse we just talked about. Well, I don't know what to tell you. I woke up a little earlier today, and my dog, was wrestling my kids, shoe in his mouth. I couldn't get out of his mouth. I had to make their lunches. I had to do this and this and this, and I had to, I had traffic again, and I had to put some fuel in my car. Okay, again, they didn't answer your questions, so you just stay quiet, and you say, okay, that's a perfect description of your morning. But answer the question, how is that part of, how is that going in line with our core value of working together? And if they can't answer you, well, no, I guess it's not working together. I should be here on time. That would be the ultimate part of working together, because all these other employees that are working here, they all have jobs. They all, I'm guessing majority of them all have kids. Majority of them all have cars that run on gas. I guess there's some electric ones out there too, but I'm sure they still have to plug those in at night. So if they don't plug those in at night, they're not going to get there as well. And they all of them have to deal with traffic, but they're still managing to get here on time. So, tell me again how this relates to, these core values. And you can go down the line of how does this relate to being honest? And if it doesn't relate, and you can even say, and one of my core values is having fun. I'll be honest with you, this conversation I'm having with you right now is not having fun. I'm not having fun with it. I'm sure you're not having fun. And you can just go down the line. And you can tell by the way that they answer you if they're in it or not. They could be saying all the right things, but if they're not saying it in the right way, you can tell if they're going to be in it or they're just trying to give you lip service. But you've got to be able to understand, like, hey, if this person's not the right person, you got to be ready to just cut bait. And you got to, I know you're saying to yourself, hey, I've got so much training into this person. I've got this and this and this, my schedule's booked out or whatever it is. Yeah, but look at how much stress this person's causing you, or this team is causing you, whatever it is, these individuals that are causing you grief. You gotta figure that into your equation. If you're constantly dealing with the same issues and you're thinking, oh heck, this again, is this person that you've trained and put so many hours into, are they really making your life easier? Because if the answer is no, then the answer is no. And then you really need to make the decision, okay, if they're not a core values match, maybe they were at the beginning, but now they've kind of quickly faded to be not a core values match, or maybe they pretended to be a core values match in the beginning, but then they kind of snuck through and they're like, nah, just kidding. I wasn't. I just wanted to take your X amount of dollars per hour or X amount of salary per year just to get in here. I just needed a job. You got to be willing to say, you know what, you're not a fit. And, you might be better off finding a better opportunity out there other than this. And I'm telling you, your lives are going to be easier because there are people, out there that'll literally just take suck the wind right out of your sails. And funny enough, it's the same people. You wake up on those days that we talked about, like, oh man, it's that day again. A couple times a month, it's just like, man, it just seems like it's all come down on the same day. Like, holy cow, what's going on? And then you find out, wow, it's still Matthew, it's still Ryan, it's still Mackenzie, it's still this. It's the same offenders every time because traffic. It's because of this. It's because of that, and it's the same excuses. And then you got to realize you got to have these conversations. Obviously, still give them an opportunity, but give them an opportunity having that core values discussion. I found an unknown quote. It says 10% of conflicts are due to differences in opinion. 90% are due to the wrong tone of voice. And I love that because there's no need to raise your tone of voice. There's no need to get angry because there's opportunities to get angry. As we're business leaders, we're business owners. Our staff, they do knucklehead things on a daily basis. And if we took those all to heart, holy crap, we could go on a tear, right? And we could be calling them and saying, you worthless sack of, whatever. But it's better just to control yourself and saying, hey, you know what, man, maybe this could be on me, but when I hired you, I'm pretty sure I came on, we came up front and talked about these core values of having fun, making money, working together, being honest. If you don't mind me being real right now and bringing some emotion to this, I feel that you're not being real honest with doing X, Y, and Z. Or I feel like, and then putting that to them a little bit after having that conversation, if they're not giving you good responses, then you can put them under the gun with that question. Yeah, I feel like this is where you stand with what kind of decisions you're making with this with us as a company, and then you can really decide, hey, how are they going to answer this? Are they going to explode and get hot and say F you and storm out? Okay, if they do, then you've got your answer. Even though you're like, God, oh, dang it, I'm going to miss. I've got an employee that I'm going to be, I've got to hire again. Great. You've got an opportunity to find someone who's the right fit now. So I know I know we all need, people, we all need good employees at this time, but you need employees that are right fit. You just don't need warm bodies out there. And they are the if you have employees that are out and about in the public and they are, wearing your logos on your shirts, on their shirts, people look at them and they see you. They are a shining example of your company. And if you have someone out there that's just, not a good person and just horrible to be around and to associate with, and they just bring in drama from home, and they constantly are needing so much attention and hand holding and babysitting, man, that's just such an energy suck for you and for your entire team. I'm telling you, the freedom it brings to your team and to you and to your mindset when you get rid of these type of people or let them get rid of themselves, it is freeing. It's liberating. And then finally, when you're having this conversation with these people and you're having a productive conversation and they're agreeing with you, and sometimes you can salvage these people, like, hey, bring them back, help them understand, like, hey, yeah, I totally understand these actions that I'm partaking in are not in line with these core values. I see that. I'm going to be better. And you can say, okay, well, if this happens again, what would you like to see happen next? And then let them decide what should happen next, and then stick by that. And at that point, they've already decided what should happen next, and it's not on you. It's just an opportunity, to go after this another way, instead of, getting angry, raising your voice. Because once you get angry, you raise your voice, you lose it. I think there's a quote on anger management, the movie, Jack Nicholson. What is it? A temper is the only thing you can't get rid of by losing it. It's so true. So stay calm, stay relaxed. Even though there's times I'm sure you want to just raise up and probably punch someone sometimes, because people do just dumb, nutty things. You got to stay calm, collective, and stick with your core values, because once you have those core values made up to how you run your company, you have to be the ambassador of how those core values are. You've got to be the very elite of people seeing you live those core values. If you're like, oh yeah, my core values of having fun and being honest, and they see me over there lying, cheating, and stealing, and being this energy suck, they're like, wow, Spencer really lied us. He's a real son of a gun. So obviously you've got to live what you're teaching, and you got to live what you're trying to, authenticate in your business. So I'm hoping this kind of stuff helps you in your business this coming week, upcoming months. But remember, having conversations, these difficult conversations with the employees are very, very crucial. We can't sweep this kind of stuff under the rug, because when they do stuff and they get away with stuff and they don't have any repercussion for things they do, it just gets worse. And then the employees that you have that are really good, they see that and they're like, man, why am I working so hard when Ryan or Carol or McKinsey or whatever they're doing half the work and they're not getting any discipline or anything done to them, because Spencer or whoever is running this company they just need bodies. So you gotta remember what messages you're sending to the rest of your good staff by how you're treating the people that are constantly being the sucks. The energy sucks, the time sucks, the everything in your business. So have that in mind and go forward this week with more energy, more confidence that you can have these conversations with your employees. And as always, be grateful, take pride in what you're doing, and be confident and help those that are around you. Until next time, adios. Thanks for joining in.
Congratulations on spending a couple of minutes getting a little bit smarter, having some fun, and supporting the Idaho business community. If you're feeling the love, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you are.